right, chat. So to start off today's stream, I wanted to get into a topic that I'm a little bit late to the game with. This is something that happened back in 2020 that I wasn't familiar with at the time. But shout out to one of my mods and admins, Chasing Dopamine. Shout out to you. Chasing Dopamine brought this to my attention, and I was like, holy crap, how did I not know that this was a thing? Especially because it's sort of connected to like lore of one of my favorite animes of all time. Now, how many of you guys, one in the chat, if you guys have ever seen the anime known as Death Note? This is literally one of my favorite animes of all time. Like, it's fantastic. I've gone as far as to say this anime is so good that even if you're not a fan of anime, check it out anyway, because you might dig it. I literally introduced Death Note to my mom, who does not watch anime, okay? Does not watch anime, doesn't care about anime. It's not their thing. I showed this series to my mom, and she fell in love with it, okay? Like, she has a favorite anime now, and it happens to be this one. But in any case, I love this anime. I've been watching this since, I think my sister introduced me to it in 2012. Yes, because we went to Anime Expo 2012, and she's like, look, if you're going to buy any anime while you're here, buy this. And she showed me the two like box sets of it, and she's like, you need to buy this. Trust me, you'll love it. And I took her word for it. I bought it, and I did love it. And so I've been a fan of the series ever since. But one thing I wasn't aware of is there's a certain political figure that is sort of kind of part of the lore of Death Note. And unless you're like super into the series, like I was just into the anime. I never read the manga or anything like that. That's how you pronounce it, right? Manga? I'm pretty sure it's manga. Sorry. In any case, I never really got into the manga. But if you are super familiar with the lore to that extent, maybe you already know about this, but I just found out about this today when Chasing Dopamine let me know about it. So let me go ahead and direct your attention to this fandom page of the Akira story, okay? And I'm going to read you just the points that I have highlighted. We just got a couple points highlighted here, but let me read this for you. The Akira story, a Death Note one-shot sequel chapter, was released on February 4th, 2020 in the March edition of Jump Square magazine. We're going to go ahead and read the plot here so you guys can get familiar with it. What is this? Is what was brought about by the Shinigami that came down to Earth what it seemed. When the Shinigami Ryuk returns to Earth more than 10 years after the last visit, he gives the Death Note to the top scoring student in Japan, hoping that he will follow in Light Yagami's footsteps. He is surprised when Minoru Tanaka, I probably butchered that, I apologize, returns the notebook and asks him to return in 2 years' time. Now a high school student, Minoru accepts the notebook from Ryuk, but he has no plans to use it himself. With the Shinigami's help and his own ingenuity, he auctions it off anonymously as his actions are followed and predicted by Nier. The United States of America buys it for a sum that leaves every Japanese citizen under the age of 60 set for life. But the King of Death creates a new rule of the Death Note that thwarts Minoru and the U.S. president's plans. So we're talking about the U.S. president being involved in lore related to the Death Note series. That's pretty fucking wild. Now, I want to show you guys some pictures that I found on the internet related to the depiction of the president in this manga series. Does this person look at all familiar to you, chat? While you guys try to figure it out, I'll read the captions. The United States will buy the power of Kira for $500 billion. Not the one that I meant to play, but we'll play the one I meant to play. Oh, shit. There we go. Does this look familiar to you, chat? We also have this one. This is Ryuk giving the Death Note to the president. Who does that look like to you? Chat, I'm seeing a couple people in the chat reference who this looks like. Let's go ahead and let's read a little bit further. United States president from the one shot. We have another image there, a very familiar looking individual. The US president bids for and wins the rights to the Death Note provided by Akira. However, he later learns that a new Death Note rule was quickly made by the Shinigami King that will kill him if he accepts the Death Note in the end. Ryuk was willing to leave the Death Note behind if the president dies so that the vice president can use it. Since the president values his life over patriotism, he declines possession of the Death Note. Instead, he lies and announces to the world that he has it, but will refuse to use it, believing this will boost his reputation. Ryuk congratulates him on his shrewd decision and leaves with the Death Note. It also goes on to state that the president is likely a reference to real-life former U.S. President Donald Trump.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
Yes, Donald Trump makes an appearance in Death Note chat. As insane as that sounds. And again, this is something that happened back in 2020, okay? This was like 4 years ago, all right? So I'm a little late to this, but like, shout out again to Chasing Dopamine for filling me in on this. I had no idea. I had no fucking idea. Let's go ahead and let's actually read this GameSpot article that goes into more details on it. Death Note Short Stories brings one-shots to print, including that infamous Trump story. On May 10th, Viz Media is releasing Death Note short stories under its Shonen Jump imprint. This manga collects a few stories from the Death Note world, as well as the infamous one from February 2020 about former U.S. President Donald Trump's goal to buy the Death Note. Can you imagine what it would be like if Donald Trump, like in the real world, got his hands on a Death Note? Like, type in chat, who do you think would be the first name to get written in the Death Note if Donald Trump got his hands on it? I feel like right now the obvious choice is Kamala Harris, right? But like, realistically speaking, what are some names you think would get written in the Death Note if he actually got his hands on it? It's an interesting thing to think about. Available for pre-order now through various retailers on Viz Media. The 226-page manga will cost $15 and is written by Sojumi. I'm butchering that name. You can see the name there on screen. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. And the art is by Takashi Obata. You can check out a few images from the manga below, which includes some of the story of Akira, the aforementioned Trump tale. Here we go. So these are some of the panels in relation to that particular story. If true, we cannot allow any other nation to get their hands on it. In 2005, the FBI director and a boy named Near testified to the president that Kira's power was a notebook that would kill a person if you wrote their name in it. This is the one I read earlier. The United States will buy the power of Kira for $500 billion. That's insane. So yeah, apparently Donald Trump is sort of kind of part of Death Note lore. I had no idea that this was a thing. Again, shout out to Chasing Dopamine for bringing this to my attention. But I had to share this with you guys because I thought it was like the funniest thing in the world. Donald Trump is a part of Death Note lore. Unfucking believable.